Hello, this is Onyx Tarot Guide, and today I'm going to be doing a tarot lesson for you all. So, we're going to be looking at how to read the Moon Tarot card, and we're also going to be using 3 different card decks. So, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and here we go. Okay, so first, when you are learning a tarot card, I think it's best to kind of like do a reference sheet so that you can kind of fill in notes as you go along. As always, you can join me on Learn Tarot with Onyx, where I have a whole system and a whole week by week process for you to learn tarot at your own pace each month. So that's on Patreon. So you guys can check that out. But I do have a reference sheet on there. And what you want to do is initially go by the book. Like you want to go and say, what does the moon mean? And as you guys may know, whatever level you are of reading tarot, that each tarot card has many meanings, okay? So in my opinion, in my experience, doing this for years, it could be easier to look. This is the way I do it. So you could look at the book, like do everything by the book, write everything down. Okay, the moon means this, right? And then you want to look at the card yourself, right? Pull readings for yourself as you're learning and say, what does the moon mean to me, right? You also want to look at it and say, the moon, when I look at this card, this is what I feel, right? So there's many different ways that you kind of come up with the meanings. Of course, they're always going to have the main meanings, right? But you also want to add your own because, again, it's your reading, it's your tarot card, it's your way of doing it, it's your practice, essentially. So if we go with the meaning of the moon. So what does the moon mean? Unconscious, illusions, intuition, fantasy, deception, hidden things, mystery, magic, uncertainty, mental confusion. So, of course, you can look at these cards and kind of tell there's some type of, there's some type of vibe where you're not really sure what's going on. If you look at the imagery, okay, and this is a part that I really love about tarot, and that's why I wanted to bring you guys 3 different cards, okay? If you look at the imagery, right, these people are essentially kind of being controlled by the moon. So in this card deck, in the Deviant Moon card deck, the people here are being, it's almost like the moon is using these people as puppets, right? So what does that say to you? And people are following the moon. Could be following the moon cycle, right? There's a common saying that when people start kind of getting a little antsy or behaviorally antsy around full moons. So that could be what this card is trying to say, right? It's up to you what you think. But of course, you want to go off of illusions, hidden things. And again, in this card deck particularly, someone is being controlled by the moon or by something or by illusions, by something that they can't see. They're not really sure what's going to happen at this meeting or at their job. So do they sabotage it as they're waiting, right? So that's what you could figure out as you're doing a particular reading. If we look into this Rider-Waite deck, the traditional moon of the tarot, you could see there's a lobster here. There's a lobster in water, and there's 2 dogs or 2 wolves, or a dog and a wolf, and they are looking towards the moon. They're waiting. The moon is telling them what is going on, or they're looking at the moon to see like what direction they're going to take. So that could definitely also be, anything, unconscious, illusion. You get what I'm saying? So like the meanings are going to go with the cards, but of course, as you keep pulling for yourself or for people that you're doing readings for, you're going to say, ooh, when the moon came up, this person was unsure about what was going on in their relationship, or they were unsure about what what new job that they were going to take. Were they going to take this one or that one, right? And then last but not least, this is the Unveiled Tarot deck. And all of these decks are, of course, in my Amazon list and check the playlist if you want to see the decks through, you know, and do the flip throughs and the reviews and how I use them, that kind of thing. But this card deck, which I really like, and I recently got this one maybe a month-ish ago. The moon, this person, of course you have the traditional, you have the wolf, you have the lobster, you have the dog, right, of the traditional tarot, but they put their own spin on it. They have a person that's sitting in bed in the dark, and so that could represent dreams, right? Mystery, magic, fantasy, illusions, unconscious things going on that you don't really know because you're sleeping. And then you say you have a dream about something, that's a premonition. So it's just kind of like however you're wanting to read it. Of course, in a spread, I always recommend you pull, at least 3 cards. You ask a question, ask a topic, and then connect the cards together. But this is really about how to read the moon card in 3 different decks. You can, of course, look at the pictures. You can use the astrology of the moon. The moon is ruled by Cancer, okay? So if you know anything about the Cancer zodiac, that could be relative to your reading. There could be things about certain animals, right? A wolf and a dog, that could be important. Of course, if you switch to a different deck that's that's kind of traditional, but they have their own, way of analyzing the moon. You may see people dressed up. So there could be like a party, or you could say, oh, people at this place are kind of fake. They're kind of puppeteers. They're kind of doing what someone else tells them to do, right? So it's kind of like, it's really up to you. Also, another thing, look at this. We can go on all day. This is why I love tarot so much. We can go on all day because in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, the moon is looking down, as in they're looking down. Like the moon is, kind of like the moon is looking down, the face is closed, and it's almost like they're a teacher of some sort, or they're the boss of something, right? In this deck, they're doing the exact same thing, and their face is a little more angry, maybe alluding to some type of karmic balance or some sort, like this is what's happening next kind of thing, but doesn't have to be, right? It's whatever you think. And then also, if you look into the deviant moon, the moon is actually in the moon card looking forward. So it's almost like, it's so interesting. So the moon is kind of more active in this card. So again, tarot is really fun, especially if you look at the pictures and, okay, something about you being asleep at night. Did you have a dream about blank, 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 blank? Again, it's however you want to read it. But I wanted to show you guys 3 different tarot card decks and how they interpret the moon, and different ways that you can, of course, interpret the moon as well. Of course, there's Roman numerals at the top. 18 could be very important to some of you guys when you do readings or not, right? But that's pretty much it. You can read this card and any card in many, many, many different ways. But again, if you are learning tarot and you're taking it 1 card at a time, which is how I learned years ago, 1 card at a time, it could be very helpful to really deeply analyze the card. And especially if you have different decks too. Whatever deck you may be using could connect with you in a different way than a traditional Rider-Waite deck. So that is what I have for you guys. Feel free to share your thoughts. As always, feel free to join me on Patreon, where I do learn tarot with Onyx, okay? The whole collection is there. You can look at that as well. I show you how to do different readings. But otherwise, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for watching.